Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you today. We have the Bestech Ornetta. A very, very, very pretty knife. I don't know what Ornetta means in whatever language it is. It sounds Italian, but I'm not sure. But it sounds pretty, and that's good because this is a very, very pretty knife. Made by Bestech. It is a design collaboration with, and I am going to butcher this name, and I apologize, Grabarsky Combo, I'm going to say Gregorz, Grzegorz. Usually pretty good with foreign names. I'm pretty sure it's Gregorz or Gregor. Not really positive. I kind of think at least that first Z is silent. Who knows? However you pronounce his name, he did a good job designing this because it is a gorgeous looking thing, for absolutely sure. And it is Bestech's first knife with M390 as the blade steel, so stepping up a little bit. And I think it's about time. I can't remember reviewing a bad Bestech, especially like quality-wise. Since they started this channel, they've always made really good stuff, and the designs are now starting to step up and match that. They've made a few that I didn't agree with the design on, but I never really got upset about the build quality on any of them. And this one is pretty darn excellent, and it is very, very pretty. $254, so not expensive, or not inexpensive, but not expensive really either for M390. It is not at all crazy for a titanium frame lock M390, $254, and it's about what you'd expect. I wouldn't call it a bargain as far as that goes, but it definitely is not in crazy town. And it just looks gorgeous. It does come in 3 different color versions. This one I think is the best. I like the black wash blade with this bronze. Looks really nice. This kind of dark bronze finish. Black bronze, I guess they call it black bronze finish. Whatever they call it, I like it. It looks good. It also comes in a blue kind of stonewashy finish with satin on the blade and then the same black wash on the flats. And then it also comes in a stonewash blade with that typical Bestech green they do in a lot of titaniums. I am not a big fan of that Bestech green, but I do like the look of the other two, and especially this one, as I said. Just a lot of really nice milling and detail on it, which I think are just really nice. This little pivot around the ring and that kind of brassy color looks really good. Lock bar insert as you'd expect, but just look at the way that bronze finishes. It's just, it's really good. I really love the look on the handle of this. I think it would have looked equally good with just a full satin blade, but the black wash I don't mind either. If you're going to coat a blade, that black wash I don't mind at all. Nice little enough lanyard hole to keep the lanyard hole mafia happy, but not enough to ruin the design of the knife or anything, so that's good. Nice kind of decorative pivot, as I said, really nice. Pocket clip looks great. Really, really sweet looking knife, I do have to say, absolutely for sure. Let's do some stats before we move on any farther. You have an overall length of 8.4 inches, a blade length of 3.6 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.15 inches, so fairly thick blade stock. Handle also fairly thick, 0.58 inches, and a weight of dead on 4.5 ounces according to my scale. So a little more than that, typical. Everybody wants the ounce to blade inch, ratio. It's a little above that, but not dramatically so. And part of it's because that thick handle, which we'll get to why that's actually kind of a good thing as we go on. Let's do some size comparisons. Pull out a couple of the standards here. You have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. The aspect ratio is probably going to make them look about the same, or the PM2 a bit longer, but actually I think this is just like the hair's width longer. The Ornetta is, and the Ontario Rat Metal 1, just a little bit bigger, not dramatically so. So this is a good kind of, normal EDC size knife. And then we will bring out a couple of Benchmades here because at least one of them especially, it doesn't remind me of a 940 exactly, but whenever I do a more slim kind of knife like this, I always bring out the 940. And your Benchmade 551 Griptilian, the full size. Now, let's bring out just 2 more, and then we'll get going on here. One I can't explain why it reminds me of it, but just in my hand, even though this is a slimmer knife in every way, and especially in the blade and things like that, the Capara from Spyderco, it does just kind of remind me of, and they're not horribly far off in price. The Ornetta is a little bit more, quite a bit more, I guess, but still relatively close. I don't know. They just kind of remind me of each other, just in the way that I think that you would use them. And your North Arm Skaha, which is just a little bit less expensive, but unless you count the months and months and months of waiting it's going to be before you get one, because they are always sold out to all of eternity. All right, now let's talk more, get down into the specifics of this thing. We already talked about the looks, already waxed on about that. I do think it's a gorgeous thing. This blade, yes, the blade stock is fairly thick, 0.15 inches, and it is not really exactly what you call a full flat grind, because it has this fuller cut through here. But it's only 18 thousandths behind the edge, which is very reasonable. Completely fine with that. Does seem to have a really good edge on it. This is from the pass around, by the way. Thank you, Bestech, for loaning it to us to let us all get our hands on it. A bunch of us YouTubers got to play with this, the same exact one. I can't say how much it's cut stuff, but it came to me with a really good edge on it still. It would still slice paper, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to bother doing it on camera because, again, it's been passed around, so I don't know how much it's gone through all that. But as far as cutting cardboard and all that stuff, it still worked really good. It's not a world beater, but as far as slicing goes, but it isn't bad. I do like the tip on it. It's got I think that is just like, for me, that size tip is a perfect, like, compromise size tip, where it's still thin enough to be, useful up at the tip, but it still is robust enough where you're not going to worry about snapping it off. Really, really like that. This forward finger choil also works as an excellent sharpening choil. Not super stoked that it's all belly. I never am when I see that. That's just the thing for me. Some people like knives that are all belly. I don't know. I always like to have a little bit of flat, although some of my favorite knives are still all belly. They overcome it despite that. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of flat on there. But pretty darn nice, I do say. They did a pretty good job with the blade. I just, I would just, this kind of knife, I'd rather this was, 0.12 blade stock instead of 0.15. So yeah, it's good, but that could be better. But that's really about the only flaw I have with this knife as we go on, just to warn you. Ergonomically, that's always the next thing we get into. It's excellent, just excellent. It's this pocket clip does not cause any hot spot whatsoever. This handle is thin, vertically, but thick in width, and it fits my hand with my long fingers just perfectly. Forward finger choil is eminently useful and comfortable. So if you really want to get in and do stuff for a long period of time, this is a good, comfortable knife to do it. The jimping stops is definitely meant, more for when you're carrying a conventional saber grip, but when you move up, this is still a lot of flat, comfortable flat to put your finger on, which I guess it wouldn't be if it was the thinner blade stock, but still, I still wish it was thinner blade stock. But ergonomically, this thing is awesome. The best Bestech I handled ergonomically before this was the Starfighter, and I loved the Starfighter. I haven't had my hands on one in a long time. But this, as far as memory serves, feels just as good. But I reserve the right to amend that statement because I haven't had my hands on a Starfighter in a while. Just a great knife ergonomically. As far as the carry goes, bust out ye old Wranglers, and it's pretty good. As you can see, flipper tab, hardly anything sticking out. Very, I wouldn't call it a minimalist flipper tab, but a mediumist flipper tab. Is that a thing? I don't know. But no sharp edges. Everything's very chamfered off, so very well chamfered off, so you can get your hands right past it, no problem. As you can see, a little bit sticking out, but depending on what color you choose, it's not offensive. And that pocket clip just looks really nice. I'm not really offended about the lack of a deep carry. And it's not sticking up much. It's sticking up about a third of an inch. That's fine. It's when you get to like half an inch and stuff that I start complaining. But man, your hand just slides right by it. And like I said, that flipper tab, yeah, I can feel right now that my pinky's touching it, but it's not an objectionable thing. There's no sharp edges or anything like that. It's just something that's there, which is completely fine. And it slides in and out very easy. Excellent pocket, excellent tension on the pocket clip. Just really, really well done. Now the action is, Bestech always does a good job on that, and this is absolutely no exception. Again, this has gone around the pass-around group a little bit, so it is probably a very well broken in example, we'll put it that way. But it's excellent. Listen to that. And it sounds even better closing it. Very nice. Very happy with that. You can't really push button it because there's no jimping on top, so my finger just kind of slips off, but it's not really meant to. It's meant to be a light switch for sure. I can spider flick it if I can do it on the camera. There we go. It took a couple tries. It's not super easy to do, though. It definitely isn't. And I cannot thumb roll this thing. I think I saw somebody else do it, but I can't do it. I don't know. I just can't quite get it to thumb roll out or thumb flick or anything like that. But you can spidey flick it. Probably with some practice, I'd get better at it. Yeah, you can. But it's not super easy for sure. Maybe farther down the fuller. Yeah, there we go. If you go farther down the fuller, it works better. Theoretically. Yeah, that's not bad. It is definitely a fidgetable knife for sure. It's a lot of fun. And it has not been, I don't think we were allowed to take this apart. I know I didn't take it apart. Maybe if you took it apart and lubed it up some more, it would be a complete drop shut, free fall. Wonderful thing. So how do I feel about this knife? I think it is excellent. I think it is definitely worth the $254 for sure. Are other people going to think that? I don't know. Is Bestech to that level yet where they can start charging $250 something for M390 knives? I think so, but I'm a knife reviewer and I have a lot more experience with them than anybody else does. Or not anybody else, but then, anybody who's not a knife reviewer does. They're definitely knife reviewers who have more Bestech experience than me. I would not hesitate to pay that much for a Bestech, but is the market going to? I don't know. We'll have to look and see. This is definitely gorgeous. It is a definitely beautiful, beautiful knife. Ergonomically superb. Carries well. All the stats are there. As I said, my only little flaw is just I wish the blade stock was a bit thinner. That's it. That's the only flaw I have. Really well done, Bestech. Excellent job. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.